turning back.
Here we are, Lost
Hey.
Boy Scouts podcast. Here we go.
Man, just another episode, another day, Danny. How are you
Another
doing?
day. So good.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm excited. We picked up a new sponsor.
We did.
Yeah,
Who is it?
Jitsi rings.
Tell me about it.
Oh man, Jitsi rings are specifically designed to kind of show your jujitsu journey on your finger, right? It's a silicone-based ring
Okay.
that you can use to replace your wedding ring or just kind of show off your dedication to jujitsu.
So let me tell you about this. This is from our friend Mike Dearson. Shout out Mike Dearson, his company. I wear my Jitsi ring every day. So for you on YouTube, you guys will be able to see, but there it is right there. That's the ring. It's a silicone based, and honestly, I get questions about it all the time. Is that purple? And I'm like, yeah, it's purple. Why is it purple? And I'm like, well, because I'm a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. And people are like, really? That's awesome. I had a white belt, I had a blue belt, and I had my stripes
On each.
On
Yeah,
each
that's pretty cool. Dearson said he's going to get me one for my blue belt. But
It's very
that is,
cool.
I mean, that's the coolest part. Like you can upgrade them with your stripes.
always.
Yeah.
I personally just went with the purple because I thought that it just looked kind of unique
Yeah.
and that it would draw attention. And my first one kind of slipped off a lot, but this one stays on, and it's that silicone. So
Yeah.
it really does do a good job. And when I'm training,
You can wear it while you train.
I do. And I've every once in a while, I'll feel it slip past this knuckle, past this one.
Yeah.
And I'll, in between rounds, I'll adjust it.
Just get it
And
back
so the other day I was adjusting my ring, and as I was training, one of my training partners said, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "That's my Jitsi ring."
Yeah. So yeah, you guys know we're fans of the jiu-jitsu. Was super excited to be aligned with this company. They are offering a discount code Scouts10 at checkout for a little bit of a sweet treat. They got some cool t-shirts on there.
Yeah.
They got some cool rings if you're into jiu-jitsu and looking to kind of just wear your belt on your finger and just kind of represent your journey. Check them out, jitsirings.com.
It's pretty cool. And you always want to support your friends. Like that's what we
Right.
were talking about last week, right? We were talking about that. We were talking about like being like having that ability to
Yeah.
like show like that you're excited for your friends,
Right.
right?
And this is a great segue into what we want to talk about today too. But like, yes, when you can share your excitement with your friends, like that's when you know you're around the right. That's when you know you found your tribe.
Agreed.
That's when you know you found your tribe. If you get caught in the backbiting or shitty comments, like yes, sometimes it's fun to razz your friends. Like
Agreed.
you get it, but you understand that there is like an equilibrium, right? They're gonna get you, you're gonna get them, and like it can be playful fun, but it has to be understood that it's playful fun.
It's funny when you're talking to people that don't really do jiu-jitsu or don't understand jiu-jitsu, but they feel your excitement. And I'm gonna pick on my friend. I'm gonna pick on Tyler's mom right now a little bit.
Yes.
But we were talking to her today, and she was just so excited to tell us to have fun going
Yeah.
to jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, it made me feel like when we were kids and your parents would like see you with your friend having
Yeah.
fun, and they'd be like, "Hey, go have fun. Hey, do this." But you knew that she didn't really understand like the jiu-jitsu, the mindset of jiu-jitsu, right?
No.
And but she was like really happy to tell us her
Yeah.
dog story.
Yes. Yeah.
and to like have fun, go have fun with
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu. And I was telling her that I'd had a rough day. I kind of had a shitty morning,
Yeah.
only because of my own personal things that we're gonna go down
Yeah.
the rabbit hole with. But her excitement made me excited, and that's what you want. You want people to encourage you to just have a good time, just to
Right.
go and be good, man.
And definitely, if you dish it out, you have to be willing
You
to take
better
it.
be willing to take
Better
it.
be willing to take it. It's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
come
true.
back. It's karma.
Yeah, for sure.
It's karma, and it's what makes being friends with other men fun. And you're right. My mom doesn't really get it, and I think that's part of what makes us gods, right? Like a lot of people will ask me, post religion, like what what is your spirituality? Like, how do you reference that? And I said, well, I don't prescribe to any one thing. I'm kind of a student of everything. But I do believe that like what makes a God is his ability to destroy.
Sure.
And then his benevolence not to. And I think that's what jujitsu is all about, right? To know what you're capable of, to know that if you have to, you could break somebody's arm, right? Like you could, or you could choke them out, or much worse, right? Like, and then having the benevolence not to, because you don't need to.
Sure. Professor talks about that a lot.
Yeah.
He talks about, he goes, you think that you have the ability to break somebody's arm? Do you have that in your mind?
Right.
You people talk about it all the time, and it's true. You put that arm bar on.
Yeah.
And honestly, do you have it in your ability to break somebody's arm? And yeah, I do.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting to watch it develop in myself, because I would say early on in my journey, no.
Sure.
No. And I think that's why I started competing. And it wasn't until the second competition that I was like, I was really gassed out, and I was like, man, if this were a real fight, you have to make that equation. Your brain, you have to put those pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah.
Like if this is a real fight and we were in a bar and this were happening to me, like, yes, I'd be safe, but I am in complete fight or flight here.
For sure.
And if I were in a dominant position, absolutely, I'm taking your head off.
Yeah, you bet.
I'm taking your arm with me, right? If you touch me, that's mine now.
Yeah.
It's like that SNL skit. This ball is mine now.
Yeah.
This arm, it's mine now.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think like, especially in our academy, it's not for everyone. It isn't. Like I, as long as you're training, I don't really care what you're doing.
Exactly.
Like where you're at, I don't really care. Like as long as you're training, I'm cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
We have like a lot of like ideas about jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu isn't been a really big growing area.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely preach self-defense in our academy.
Yeah.
But we also preach being there for each other, like cheering each other on. Like Professor Nick, Anthony, they're like really about encouraging us to cheer for each other.
Yeah.
Right. To be there for each other.
Absolutely.
And to know that like, if you don't tap, that person's going to break your arm.
Right.
So you better tap. Right.
Yeah.
So that's not for everybody. That is scary.
No. Yeah.
It's a scary environment sometimes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And you learn very early on to tap.
Right. Right.
Don't let it get that far.
Right. And well, and you felt that energy. Maybe you've rolled with one of the bigger guys in the gym. And I remember a few weeks ago, I was, rolling with Big Will, and he's ragdolling me around. But then I had the opportunity to get an armbar, and I put that armbar on so hard and tight that I was like, that's it. That is the benevolence, knowing that I can get to that position. And like, rolling with somebody like him is not, it's scary.
Yeah.
It is, you are fighting for your life. And, he's a gentle giant, he would hurt you if he had to, but like, you're certainly glad he's on your team, but like,
for sure.
But you equate that to a real life situation. If that were somebody else, or we were meet under different circumstances, you know what I mean? Like there it is. There's a great example of being able to turn it on and finding a situation and capitalizing on it, but then knowing you're benevolent.
Yeah.
The second part of that, not to make this about God, is our creative power. And we talked a little bit about that in our Boys and Sex episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just kind of,
that in itself, like when we talked about like comparison with, I remember listening to the comparison podcast just to kind of like listen to it and to gain insight of where you and our brain was at.
Yeah.
But that
hold on just a second.
Here we go.
This is we just finished training, so
did.
we're on one tonight. We're feeling good.
We're on a high.
We're going to go back into it.
So like that. I have a good relationship with a higher being, but I don't actually always prescribe to a God, right? And I was listening to our podcast and I was thinking like I hope people relate to us that we do believe that there is a higher power.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
There always is something that will keep you in checks and balance.
Right.
Right. And if as long as you have that in your life, like you're going to be okay. And
Right.
as long as you put people like a good energy around you,
Yeah.
it encourages you to build relationships.
Yeah.
Whether you prescribe to a religion, you prescribe
Right.
to a God, right?
Right.
And it's okay. Like if you disagree with me, it's okay if you disagree with
Right.
me, but we'll find common ground, and that's what you want. That's why encouraging your friends to be successful is because
Right.
you find common ground.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
And you
just
want the
find common
you want
ground.
the best. You want the best for that person,
best
right?
for that
And even
person.
if it's not the way you see things,
Yep,
you know, you wish them the best, and it makes you a better person.
makes you a better person.
So what do you do with those difficult people? Because that's really the topic we're going to get into today: is those difficult people, difficult situations, those challenges in life
When they challenge you,
when they challenge you.
right? And so, a little backstory. There's lots of things that I will tell you are great for you. That I will tell you they are great for you. I've done some research on them. I just don't do them myself. I don't prescribe to them. I don't. I don't. Cold plunging to
Yeah.
me is horrible.
Right.
Right. I don't like it.
Right.
I don't cold plunge for any benefit. I
Mhm.
don't, except that I'm scared of it. I do not like to be cold, and it's a challenge for me to get
Right.
into the cold plunge. So I'm like, stop being a bitch.
Yeah.
That meme, stop being a bitch and come on. That's what I think to myself.
Right. So inherently, your challenge is just exposing yourself to the water, right? Like you don't need to be the Andrew Huberman
I don't care.
iconic. Yeah, I'm going to get the 11 minutes, or I'm not going to get the benefits. No, your challenge is is different than.
And in the summertime, it's easy.
Oh yeah,
because it's 50 degrees.
Right.
Right now, my cold plunge does not get above 40 degrees.
Yep, mine as well.
And I don't know how. I stand in there with just my legs, and I'm like, I can't. Tristan's like, Dad, get in. Stop being a bitch. Come on. And I'm like,
It's interesting. I've watched my times go down too, because I'm like, even with ice in the summertime, you still can get out. But with an ambient air temperature of like 36 degrees and a water temperature of like 38, 40 degrees, you're like, it's miserable.
yeah.
It is a different type of challenge now than in the summertime.
And I got called out. I got called out because I wasn't doing it correctly.
Right.
And I ended up getting into a keyboard warrior battle
Right.
with somebody that challenged me.
An online troll.
An online person that challenged me that I kind of like responded the way that I would like normally in person. If we were in person,
Right.
I would say the same thing, right? And I aggressively was like, I got my feelings hurt
Mm-hmm.
because that's not what I'm about. I don't
Right.
care. I don't care.
Right.
That person challenged me and I responded backly, and we ended up, I was back and forth. And I was sweating. I was pissed. And I was like, I got to stop, Danny, stop.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm going all in.
Yeah.
And then I was in a bad mood,
Yeah.
a really bad mood. And Misty could see
Mm-hmm.
on my face, I was in a bad mood. I forgot to get her coffee. I forgot everything. I was just like, I was pissed. And I was like, oh man, why am I getting caught up in this? And I was like, okay, this is a good thing to look at. This is a good thing.
Yeah.
This is a good thing. This is a good challenge for me right now.
Right.
Because
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, because who won? Was there a winner?
never.
No, there's never a winner, right? And if anything, right, like because you spent your day so spun up in it, and believe you me, I am the type of person that will ruminate on all kinds of shit forever. Like he kind of won, right? Like
yeah,
he kind of tapped you.
He did. He got me.
Yeah.
We talked about this in one of our episodes where like I'll play catastrophic like thing, but then I was playing in my head like if he was in my face like right now, what would
you do?
What would I do and I was like, knock it the fuck off.
Why do our brains do that?
Well, I think I think for one, I fight.
Mm-hmm.
I fight.
Yeah.
I fight like I fought
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times, and so it's something that I don't like about myself.
Right.
That I look back on and I'm like, oh man, I feel bad about that, and I felt bad about it, and I kept telling myself all day long, knock it off, Danny, knock it off, but I couldn't, and I would replay in my head what I would say, And then, I one thing that I think that I've learned is to talk,
Yeah.
is to not hold it in.
Yeah.
And so I talk, and so it would get better. I talked a little bit about it.
Yeah.
I taught the 11 o'clock class, all white belts, and they were so stoked about
Yeah.
what I was teaching them, and that helped me a little bit. The training didn't get anything out of me.
It was just not a challenge, right? To all white belts. Yeah.
And they didn't stick around. Trip and I like did a couple things that we needed to work on. But his energy was so good today. He was like, Dad, we're going to both trainings, and we're going to make sure that there's at one of the trainings everybody's there.
Yeah.
And we're going to get our asses kicked.
Yeah.
And I was stoked about that. But when you deal with difficult situations, what's the first thing that let's say like you've had some difficult situations, right? And the challenges that like that nobody's wrote in a book about how to deal with it.
Right. You could water crops with the tears that I've cried. And I'm definitely that person. Like I have allowed my reticular activation system, the part of your brain that filters life, to allow me to ruminate way more than I would have liked. I've ruminated over stupid shit like the dude that cut me off in traffic, what I would do differently, and what, I've ruminated over how I would have done the divorce differently, or how I would have handled a job situation differently. I like to say I've really beat myself up with that rumination. And you feed it.
You do.
You feed it.
It's so true.
And so what I've had to really train myself to do is, okay, when I'm in this situation, what valued action can I take to redirect my brain? Because our brain is constantly wanting to solve problems.
Always.
It wants to solve a problem. That's why it's trying to solve this problem. And unfortunately, in like terms of computing, that's, this problem is an open loop. It's in the past. You're never going to be able to resolve it. So the computer, if it were a computer, your computer would just freeze trying to solve
the spinning wheel.
Loop. Yeah, you get that spinning wheel of death.
Yeah.
So you have to, one, start asking, giving your brain questions that it can solve.
Sure.
And you have to redirect that energy into valued actions.
We've talked about that a lot, of like redirecting energy. And putting it into a good space. And when you get stuck in like those fight or flight moments, because that's what I was in. That's what we've been in as men, is like that fight or flight. Like,
right.
And I know that like in every life form, I'm a fighter. In every life I've been a fighter. Right.
Yeah.
And those battles that you don't win, that you just like, man, I didn't win. Right. I didn't win. And how can I deal with that? And I did learn, but I didn't win. And I'm like, oh, I can't get past that. Yeah. I couldn't get past it today. I couldn't. I was so stuck. I was so stuck on like what I should have said, what I should have done, or wanting to fight with everything. I almost like, even Misty was like, whoa, you're like really being aggressive right now. And I was like, knock it off, Danny. Knock it off. And you needed the training.
You needed the training to go work it out. I needed to
fight,
redirect that valued act. And that's legitimate. That is a legitimate way of handling the situation. And congratulations to you for figuring out the outlet. Right.
It's been hard.
It is.
Well, and growing up with like the single mom, like without the fathers, without a dad to show,
a problem solver.
Yeah, I'm like,
you want to fix, you want to make things right.
Yeah.
I, for one, and I don't know about you, but I was way interested in making sure people liked me.
Agreed.
I wanted people to like me more than anything, because my brain was trying to figure out what's going on at home. It couldn't resolve what was at home. And so I wanted people to like me to a fault.
To a fault.
Right. And I used to use the term that like I was loyal to a fault.
No.
And I've come to learn that, one, loyalty means nothing. Loyalty will get you to abandon your values, abandon your principles. And what you should be striving for is really trust, because trust is reciprocal.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You can feel that.
Right. Trust is reciprocal.
Sure.
If I trust you, and you can trust me, it's a kind of a two-way street, whereas loyalty will often challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
People will often ask you to compromise yourself
for sure.
for your own loyalty.
And you will compromise.
Mhm.
You will compromise yourself. You'll compromise your values to prove who you are as a person,
Mhm.
to like solidify who I am as a
Mhm.
person, right?
Yeah.
You'll compromise that stuff.
Absolutely.
And that's a good way to look at it. Like, had I just taken a step back, let's say, like, uh, as I'm getting into this argument
Mhm.
online, which is easy to do. It is so easy to get into. If somebody challenges you and not where you can see them in person,
Right.
it's easy to like start typing like all this crazy
Right.
bullshit, right?
Yeah.
But let's say you're sitting there next to me. You're sitting there next to me. You're like, Danny, are you gaining anything out of this?
Yeah.
And I have to answer that question to you. And I realize that I'm just feeling like this challenge that I
Mhm.
can't win, right? And
Mhm.
all of a sudden I can go, no, I'm not getting anything out of it. And you're like, okay, let's reframe it then.
Yeah.
Let's redirect your energy.
Let's-
And maybe I'm still pissed and you're like, that's cool, man, but you don't got to go down this path.
I mean, I think that's what's interesting, right? Because it'd be very easy for me to tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
But if I would have told you what to do in that situation, would you have listened to my advice?
No, hell
No,
no.
no. You were hell bent on protecting whatever it is you wanted to protect. And I'm willing to say that this is the same situation for this keyboard warrior, right? Like
On the other side.
on the other side, on the other side of any conversation, anytime you're on, like, they are. Quite often it's your ego, right?
Sure.
Your ego is trying to protect itself, right? And so as we get into these situations, I have to start looking at it from the other perspective. I like to use the analogy: you can't see the front of the label from inside the pickle jar.
Right. We said
Right?
that last time.
We said that last time.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to start flipping it. So give your brain another problem to solve. Okay, what about this conversation is what is this showing me about him? Because this is more about him than it is me. And maybe that's a tad narcissistic, because I'm putting it on the onus on him, but I'm also saying, like, okay, what am I seeing about him, and what does that teach me about myself?
Hmm.
And that's where I bring it back into myself.
Sure.
Right. What am I learning? Okay, this person is whatever. In my case, it's always the ex. I've had a bad interaction with her, and I've said a bunch of stuff that I ultimately regret, right? And I could have handled differently. And I'm like, okay, I see my ego trying to protect itself there, but what is it telling me about her? Because 99% of the time, whatever she's projecting at me is her own issue,
Sure.
or their own issue, and that's what I find with what's interesting with my in my exit from the church, right? When I get into those arguments with those people that are in the church, that are defending the church, that, like, I have no ill will towards the church.
Sure.
I can't be stuck hating the church, because if I'm stuck hating the church wins.
Agreed.
And I want nothing but the best for all of humanity. And
Sure.
if that is following the footsteps of that religion, great, do it. But don't project that I am doing something wrong.
Yeah. Yes, that's what I was saying. That was part of when I was trying to defend what I was doing, is I was just like, hey, this is the way that I do it. Just because it's not the way that you do it doesn't mean that I'm wrong.
Right.
And then I took a shot.
Yes.
Which ultimately was the shot, right? I just took a shot. I took a shot. And when you look at it like that, where you're like, hey man, I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy the way you're doing it. Like, I'm cool. Right. Challenging. I think that the internet, it has gotten easy to pick at people,
right?
To tease
and it's
people.
So easy, because it's some ones and zeros, fake pictures. And,
yeah, there's no reason. You can't say anything. You can't do anything. There's no recourse. Yeah, you're not going to punch me in the face because I'm not talking to you directly, right?
Right.
And I think that's me where I get stuck.
Yeah.
I want the best for people as well.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to succeed. I feel that myself, I really encourage you to do whatever it is. Do go to whatever academy you feel is best for you.
Right.
Go and learn your journey, whatever's best for you, however you feel is best for you.
Right.
You want some advice from me? I'll tell you my opinion about things.
Right.
But it's just an opinion.
Yeah.
And opinions are like assholes.
Yeah, everybody's got one.
Everyone's got one, right?
And they're all stinky.
They stink.
No, I mean that's so
that's so true. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I liked how you put that. I liked how you put that.
Yeah, I mean, I just find it as whether it's friends that I'm arguing with about the church, like it does me no benefit to point out the different things, right? Because
the negatives,
right? Like, or the research that I've done, whether it's a fact, right? I'm so certain that this is a fact.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, fact.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not a math equation, right?
Yeah.
Like, yes, maybe there's been some peer-reviewed studies or whatever. Like nothing is a fact. Your truth is a perception your own brain has put together. That's the whole Einstein theory of relativity, right? You look out of one eye, I get a completely different view than when I look out of the other eye. Like it's two different views, right? Yeah. And are they any less facts?
Right.
Right? No, they're not. It's all relative.
Yeah. And
it's all a mental construct of what our, gelatin inside of our head is put together. The only reason that we agree that, a fire is a fire is because collectively, as a species, we've decided that little flame as it reflects into our eyeball is a flame, right?
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
Right. And then we get so caught up, like trying to wrap our brains around, what is true and what isn't true.
And there's always going to be those people that will challenge just to challenge.
Right.
They're not going to. They don't have any dog in the fight.
No.
But they get a little in the military, and I don't even know where this came, but it was like, you showed me where your goat was tied. Right? That was the saying that would say, like, you showed me where your goat was tied. And that means that you showed me what upset you, so now I'm going to pick at it.
Now I'm going to pick at it.
I don't have any. The only reason why I'm picking at it is because I see that it's upsetting you. And with the internet, it's easy to do without a balance.
Yeah.
There's no checks, right? Yeah. There's no balance. It's me and you typing in all this bullshit towards each other, and there's no checks and balances. Because if we were like talking to each other and one of us got upset and was like, oh, fuck it, I'm punching you in the face.
Right.
There's a balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're good about that. So then when you look for outlets, right? That's why, like, for me, I have no other outlet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu is my outlet. And I need you to give me the energy to let out that outlet, to really get that out. Because if not, then I'm carrying all that weight with me because I fight.
Yeah.
So then we go to training tonight, and it was like no easy rounds.
Nope. There never is.
Cookie was saying that today. Cookie was like, the academy is at the point where you don't get a rest round. And if you get a rest round, you are so thankful.
Right.
That you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I got a rest round.
I
can breathe. But everybody is training so well.
Yeah.
And so you take that negative energy, and if you continue that negative energy, people are going to feel it and they are going to tune you up. So know that.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. I have to admit, in a moment of vulnerability, that I have been that person. Like, I would love to mind fuck you, right? Like, if I knew something was kind of, I would pick at it. But then I realized that, like, that was my issue. That was my own ego trying to protect itself, wanting to be important, wanting to find, wanting to elevate myself. And you kind of have to dissolve that. And of course, it dissolves when everything in your life falls apart, because eventually karma will catch up to you.
Always.
Right?
It's crazy how that works, right? There's always going to be something that corrects you, right? You're not feeling good about yourself, or you're like projecting that negative energy. There's always going to be something that will correct you, that will get you back and be like, oh shit,
yeah,
I pushed it a little bit too far.
Right. Sometimes
it's a monster black belt that just is like, shit, man, what did I do? And you could be like, what the fuck did I just do? And you're like, they could be like, well, your energy dictates how my energy is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think about that a lot. I think about like, when challenges come up, like when I'm struggling as a man, and I'm struggling with like
It's gonna be a cool. It's gonna be a cool effect. But the batteries,
Did you
the
see that?
batteries
That was
dying.
cool.
Yeah, yeah.
When I'm struggling as a man and I'm struggling with things that I can't grasp, I don't understand. I always think if I continue to fight and I don't just accept sometimes, just accept, I'm gonna get a correction.
Yeah.
And I have to really be careful sometimes because I'll
Right.
push.
Yeah. I mean, I felt it tonight as well. There was a couple of rounds in there where I was just trying to go with the flow, rolling with Kip, and I felt like I was going a little hard, and then I corrected my energy, and like we flowed a little bit better, and then there was another couple rounds with another purple belt that I felt were just like, it was like, and you have to correct, but it ultimately comes down to what can you control?
Sure.
What can you control?
Mm-hmm. What can you?
Yourself. That's it.
That's it. Your emotions.
Your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, your actions, your energy. Like you can control just this.
And you can voice the things that are upsetting you, right? And people don't have to accept that. They don't have to coddle your feelings. They don't have to like be gentle with your feelings. But sharing feelings as a man, sharing like why you're upset, sharing the insides that we show, because we're not taught to share our feelings. But if you share them in a good environment, in a good setting, your friends and the people that want you to succeed are going to like encourage good behaviors.
Exactly.
Right. Encourage good things for you.
Well, I mean, that's what's so interesting about the Jordan Peterson book, to bring that back up from so many episodes ago, the 12 principles, right? Correcting your children's behaviors. Shit that society won't appreciate.
Right.
You have to correct that. We are learning creatures. We learn from our progeny. You have to correct your children when they are doing something
that you don't like.
Yeah, when my son's being a dumbass, I have to call him out on being a dumbass. I have to correct the behavior. But at the same time, I also have to expect that there may be points when I'm getting called out as well.
Yeah. And accepting criticism and accepting those things is hard as a man, because you're not taught these skills of like your friends want the best for you. So they call you out on your bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, it was cool because when we were driving like to jiu-jitsu, I was just venting. And then you said, do you want me to give you a suggestion or do you want me to just listen? And I was like, no, Tyler, I need you to give me suggestions. I need you to give me insight. And you were really gentle with what you said, but it was direct. It was like very clear of what I needed to do to redirect my energy and not get stuck in the loop.
Yeah.
Because I was stuck in the loop, right? I was just stuck in that. Like,
so horrible. It's so horrible. It's the worst place to be.
I was.
It's the worst. It is and I've been there. I've been there so many times, so I can sympathize. It's the worst place to be.
Yeah, I was. And so I'm grateful for the environment that I'm in. I'm grateful for the fact that like I can accept defeat. I can accept the fact that like today I was successful in learning. But when you're challenged as a man, never take it to the point of like it's a loss.
Yeah.
Right. Because we're always just learning. Like when we started this thing, I said from the very beginning, I'm a learning. I'm in progress.
Yeah.
I don't know everything. I don't project to know everything. Sometimes I come off as being arrogant, maybe toxic, but I try not to be. I try to be a good dude. And I get stuck sometimes, and I need to be called out.
I'm going to reframe it. I would never call it toxic. I would call it passionate. And I think more. Can we get a sponsorship?
Always.
Yeah, right. Like, I would say passionate, right? Like, because there's a difference between toxic and passionate.
Sure.
And certain people they have their thing. And I would say for you, jujitsu is your thing. It is a passion.
For sure.
And I personally have been, I've confused your not necessarily toxic, but like your passion for, and I just have to remember, Danny is passionate about this,
Sure.
and it's his passion that draws me to the whole community.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's your passion. It's like, I want to be there. You make it fun. You create the environment that makes me want to go. And when I'm feeling like a fucking slug that won't get up to training, I can count on Danny I can count on his passion pulling me in and lifting me up.
Yeah.
And that's what I need. I need that at times.
Sure.
I need that at times. I can't, and there's certain times when I'm like, oh, Danny's texting me again, and I'm nervous about it because I know that like I've got all this other stuff going on, and I'm like, I'm just going to breathe, and I'm going to get to the next training that I can get to.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to be grateful that I have somebody that is so passionate about this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hope that like, passion carries you to higher levels, right? Because
Oh, absolutely.
not that like, I mean, here's the thing, like I've been doing this thing for a while, right? I've been doing,
How many years?
so I've been training for the better of 10 years.
Just in jiu-jitsu?
No. I've been doing the whole grappling scene for almost, let's see here, Braxton's. So almost 14, 15 years of training grappling.
Yeah.
And jiu-jitsu specifically almost 8 years.
Okay.
And
the age of accountability, 8 years.
Yeah.
That's when they baptize you in the Mormon church.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Yeah. When you're 8 years old, you are now accountable.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I never understood that.
You're basically like, you are fully aware.
Oh, that you're accountable for that.
Yeah. Never mind that science says your brain doesn't completely develop until like 28.
Yeah.
31.
That's a weird thing. We got to talk about that one day. Because I have questions about that.
Yeah.
I'm young. I feel like I'm young in jiu-jitsu. But when I see like my friends who are like 2 or 3 years into jiu-jitsu, I always have to remind myself that like where I'm at in jiu-jitsu, that like my journey of jiu-jitsu is different than everybody else's. Because I really wanted to fight.
Yeah.
I really wanted to do MMA. I wanted to be in the cage. I enjoyed that. I wanted to punch people in the face. And when I found jiu-jitsu, it changed everything.
Yeah.
Changed who I was.
Really?
As a man.
So my question for you, did you have a Danny?
Yes.
You did?
I did.
There you go.
Yep. Cookie
was your Danny.
Cookie.
Luckily, well, let's get into this real quick and let's talk about this, like how Cookie, to tell the story, because
So Cookie was good because he understood that I was a wrestler.
Yeah.
And that I would get frustrated.
Yeah.
And so when I started, Cookie was a blue belt, and he understood that I like to fight.
Yeah.
And he would always tell me, don't get flustered. Use your wrestling. Don't get upset, but just keep coming. Get past all the other bullshit. Like I'd get away with some wrestling techniques that would save me. And he would say, don't lose the wrestling. Don't lose the wrestling. But remember, like there's a different game here. Don't get frustrated. You're going to get tapped. And he would always say, just keep coming. Just keep coming.
Yeah.
Just keep coming. My first competition, I was like amped. I was like ready to fight. And he was there and he's like, man, you're forgetting to have fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, there's some fun aspect to this. Cause I would forget to have fun. I would just be in there like trying to grind and trying to fight and trying to like, I wanted to fight. I really wanted to fight.
Yeah.
And then he would always reach out to me and be like, hey, don't forget to go to training today. I'll see you at training. Hey, I'll see you there. And I'd sometimes be like, I've got to go to wrestling. I've got to do all this other shit that I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I wanted to see him so bad and hang out with him that I get all this like nervous energy of like, there's all these excuses to tell you why I can't go. And then I'd be like, fuck it, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So like, today Cookie and I were talking about the fact that like, he's a black belt. And I was like, it's crazy for me to see him with the black belt on. Yeah, it's crazy for me to see him with the black belt on.
Yeah.
And so he was right there for me. He's always been there. He's always been
such a good dude.
He's always been there for me. When I call him and like he doesn't text, he always says, "Hey, remember I don't text. Call me." And he'll like, and so I'll call him and we'll have like, 30, 45-minute conversations about shit that I'm struggling with jiu-jitsu. And he'll be like, just keep going, man. Don't forget.
Yeah.
Always keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a good dude.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he sat on me for a whole 3 minutes.
And he's small.
Right.
It's so good because like I said, I mean, he's my size as far as weight.
Mm-hmm.
And, leading up to his black belt, I felt like I was kind of like catching him, and he's tapped me more times than I can count during our training. And I'm like, what the fuck, man?
There's definitely a mind shift there. Shift there.
Yeah. So he was my Danny.
Yeah.
He's always been, and Nick Hallett.
Yeah.
Like always been good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Nick was a purple belt for me, but Cookie's always been so good for me. And when I was telling him the story of what happened today, he was like, don't get caught up in that shit, man. Yeah. Don't forget. He always says, don't forget, we punch people in the face if we need to.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. Like if it comes to pistols at dawn or like whatever, like you gotta take care of your own. But at the same time, you also have to realize like, when do you even need to give that energy?
Yeah, just let it go.
And when it comes to the internet,
let it go.
Almost never.
I know.
The trolls are plentiful.
Yeah. It was a good thing. It was a good thing for me today. I was super vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was grateful for like you holding space for me. It was cool because we have so many things going on in our world. With you and I, we have so many, our projects are coming to fruition, right?
Yeah.
And we have like, hopefully in the next little while, we have some really big announcements that we're going to be doing. And, I think that we're building we're still organic.
Yeah.
Right. And, the academy is thriving with the people that are going on, and the feedback that we get from people that listen to the podcast that understand our journey, understand what we're doing, are like stoked.
Yeah.
For what we're gonna launch.
Yeah. It's about coming from a place of authenticity, right? And if you have to get behind your keyboard and talk shit or project, like you're not coming from an authentic place. Sure. If I have to call you out and tell you whatever, you're toxic or you're this or you're that, no, that is a direct reflection into yourself.
Sure.
100% direct reflection into yourself. And so, I mean, nothing's worse than the rumination. Nothing is worse than the rumination. Right. It's a terrible place to put ourselves in. And I've spent more time in the last 2 years in rumination than I have at jiu-jitsu. I'll admit. Yeah. Right. Like it's hard.
It is.
It's a hard habit to break. We are not susceptible to it, but I have to be kind to myself. And luckily I've got a friend who always tells me to be kind to myself.
Yeah. Always. And you need that, like to wrap up everything that we're talking about, like, just surround yourself around the people that you want to be around.
Exactly.
Right. And when you find that community, that common unity, when I talk to people, I tell people, find a common unity.
Right.
Find something that you can be grounded in, that you agree on.
Yes.
And that's a common unity.
Start there.
We can always circle back to that. We can always circle back to the fact that, like, if we have a relationship and we're good, like, we'll find common ground.
Yeah, we will.
We are not going to like call each other out. If we need to, if we got to, if we're like, okay, I can't get past this.
Yeah.
Then we're going to go train.
Yeah.
And we're going to come like how we did tonight, like just so excited and so relieved
Yeah.
and so like grateful for the fact that we have this platform to talk
Yep.
to people
Yeah.
and to like to be a good role models for up and coming practitioners,
Yep.
men, because we
generation.
have all these things that hold us down,
No.
and we reframe and we redirect that energy, and we're
Yep.
good.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I really do love this. I'm super grateful. This episode will be coming out the day after Thanksgiving, so hopefully everyone had a good Thanksgiving. You know, at the end of the day, if you cannot find that common unity, turn to your breath.
sure.
Turn to your breath, because the common unity for all of humanity is our connection through air.
Yeah.
And I know you got some exciting projects coming up with breath and with air, and I'm going to give you a second here to just kind of say what you want to say about it, because this will be coming out when it's ready. And yeah, I'm excited to see what you've got going on.
Yeah. So by the time we release this podcast, so you guys know that we always are a week before, but the website will be up for my breathwork coaching, my breathwork project.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily I've had a lot of people around me to encourage me to do this, because I'm nervous. I'm scared, right? I am scared. I'm scared of like people critiquing what I'm doing and telling me that who the fuck am I to like help people. But listen, man, like everybody has trauma. Everybody has things that set them back. And the one thing that you can do, that you can always do, you can always focus on your breath.
Mm-hmm.
You can always get to a place where you're like, hey, I can make it to tomorrow. I can make it through this next minute. I can make it through this next day. And if that's what I do, if that's where the project goes, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me. Like, well, I'm going to help you. We're going to figure out a plan. And that's what my project. So my website is, it's called Just Breathe. And it really just means that. Name. Just breathe.
And that's so, I mean, it's so amazing, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like you can go, I don't know how many days without food, like 3 weeks. You can go, 3 days without water.
Yeah.
Right? How long can you really go without air?
You can't.
Maybe 3 minutes, unless you're one of those diver guys that can do that.
And we talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
So breathe. Just breathe.
Just breathe.
Such a good name. Just breathe.
Thank you for everything that you've done for me. Yeah. Like honestly, Tyler, like you've been a huge help for me, and like I always send you my ideas, and you always like give me like your input. Like you're like, hey man, do this, or like simplify it, because sometimes I get wrapped up in a bunch of bullshit, and you're like, hey man, just let's go back to the beginning. What are you trying to do?
Yeah.
And I'm grateful. My community supports me, and I'm stoked to release it. I'm stoked to we're going to do classes. We're going to do simple routines, sleeping, morning routines. If you want to learn how to grapple with breath, I'm going to show you how to do it.
Yes. I want it all. I got to know, are you still taping your mouth at all?
I do tape my mouth. So the funny thing about the hostage taping, the taping of my mouth is I don't do it regularly.
Yeah.
But I know that I don't sleep, that I sleep with my mouth closed.
Yeah. It's a learned habit, right? Like it's a learned habit.
Yeah. We'll get into it. I have some funny, I have some cool stories that we'll get into about the fact that like how you can help yourself keep your mouth closed.
All right. So let's plan. The first episode in December is going to be about breath. Yeah. It's going to be about air and breathing, and, to the success of your website.
Thank you.
And, Danny's been helping me with my own breath work, and he's been training me. I'm super excited for this opportunity for him, and could not endorse it anymore. Breath work beyond meditation, breath work beyond, breath is life.
It is.
It really is. Breath is life.
I'm excited. I'm excited for we have some. I'm pretty sure that in December and January we're going to have some huge announcements of where our path is going to go and how we're going to grow this community.
It is,
and we're going to bring everybody in, and we're going to be able to like share this journey with people.
It is,
and I'm stoked. Like I think like today was a good learning experience for me, and I'm grateful for the person that was opposite of me today and it was challenging me today. And when you have those challenges, remember, like, be grateful for those.
Yeah.
Be thankful that happens, because it's going to make you a better person.
It is. And I posted this in my gratitude challenge yesterday. The diamonds, they are created under tremendous amounts of pressure.
For sure.
And hard men will find ways to put themselves in those challenging positions.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you avoid it, it's okay. Be kind to yourself. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe you've got other things you've got to work towards. But find a way to grow.
Yeah.
Find a way to grow.
Agreed.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving. Let's see, what else, what do you got coming up?
We are still coaching away. We've got a couple more coaching sessions throughout this year that we're going to open up. I think I got room for 2 more gentlemen if they want to join some private one-on-one coaching.
Cool.
We're going to open those up. I keep a pretty heavy schedule. But if you are looking for how to change your mindset, if you are looking for how to come back to yourself after a divorce or a relationship deteriorating, or if you are lost, like, it's okay. There is guides, and we can work with you and help you find yourself. And check us out, lostboyscouts.com. Continue to listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Justbreathe.com. That's so good. It's sexy.
Thank you.
So sexy.
Yeah, it's cool. You can, if you have disagreements with us, if you want to challenge us, if you want to get a role, a 3-minute role, we don't do much more than 3 minutes because we're a little bit older.
Yeah.
Come see us at Park City Jiu-Jitsu. Our Sunday classes, open mats have been 25 people plus. We're getting lots of people coming in, lots of people hearing about us, so we're trying to grow that community.
Absolutely.
Come hang out, come see, like, how tough we are.
Exactly. If you question any of it, if you question the authenticity, you know where to find us.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Rise up, no turning back.